Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for the live-action Death Note movie from Netflix. Okay, and this movie was not given much of a chance when it was first announced. I mean, we've been hearing about a live-action Death Note movie for years, and we finally learned that it was going to be Netflix that ended up doing it. We heard about the casting of Nat Wolff as Light Yagami, and it just didn't really matter what happened. The movie just got more and more hate before it even came out. Okay, people just didn't have any faith that this movie was going to be good. Okay, and I just watched the movie. Okay, I just finished watching it, and I can say, without a shadow of a doubt, we were all right. The movie sucks. Okay, it's just this movie didn't even really come close to being good. It just didn't. I mean, start off with the casting. Nat Wolff is just not good. Okay, he's just not. Ryuk was fine, I guess. I mean, look, he's pretty cool looking, all right. But the problem is, he wasn't even in much of the movie. He really wasn't. He wasn't even important to the plot, really. I mean, he showed up every once in a while. He's the one who dropped the Death Note, but other than a few token appearances, he was completely irrelevant. Okay, so that was disappointing, and it's the same with all the rest of the characters. Obviously, they destroyed Light in almost every way imaginable. The person in this movie is not Light Yagami. Okay, there's literally nothing about him that's even remotely close to Light Yagami. Okay, there was this, like, I mean, there's no other way to say it. The character just isn't the same. Okay, it wasn't even just Nat Wolff's acting. The character was just completely different. I mean, it was his acting too, but the character was just completely different. I mean, you have like I've seen it done before where they try to change Light up a bit. If you look at the drama that was done in Japan a few years ago, that adapted Death Note into a TV drama. It's on Crunchyroll. If you look at that, they started off a little bit differently. They actually wrote Light as a Misa fanboy. Okay, and it was weird. But as the show developed, Light developed, and he became the Light Yagami that we all know and love. Okay, they did not do that here. Okay, Light starts off as a weird, kind of like selling notes and homework to people, and like he comes off as like an emo loser, pretty much. That's all he really is, an emo loser. And as the movie goes on, he doesn't really develop past that. He actually gets worse as the movie goes. Okay, there's a scene where he is going to homecoming with Mia, who is this movie's version of Misa, and they're sitting there taking pictures together, and he's making all these goofy, stupid-looking faces, and I'm just like, I mean, and this is like more than halfway through the movie, where he's supposed to have developed into actual Light Yagami, and he's sitting there making goofy faces, trying to be funny for the pictures, and it's just stupid. Okay, so it's not even, it is Nat Wolff's acting that sucks, but at the same time, the character itself just wasn't even Light Yagami. It goes to show you that the people responsible for this in writing the movie didn't understand what makes Death Note great. Okay, the characters are a big part of that. They kept a little bit of L's mannerisms. They changed something here and there. Instead of liking cake, he liked ice cream. You know, like they changed little stuff here and there. But he was probably the closest person, other than Ryuk, he was the closest person to actually being accurate. And even then, he was still just okay. But none of the characters in this movie truly capture the greatness of the characters in Death Note, whether it's Light, whether it's L, even Light's father. Light's father in actual Death Note is so great. But here, he's just, he's not an afterthought. He's just not nearly as good as he should be as a character. Okay, so none of the character, Mia as well, just they went a different direction with her, um, and it kind of demonstrates the poor writing as well, because the characters were bad, but the story was bad as well. Um, it was pretty much basic, Light goes and kills people, and then L tries to stop him. That's the basic story, right? But they didn't really build on it. One of the great things about Death Note are the intellectual and psychological battles going back and forth between Light and L, but there's literally none in this movie. None at all. Whatsoever. No psychological battles. Okay? Like it's just the writing which just wasn't what it should have been. But the writing in the context of the characters was also really bad. Because you have instances where you have Mia, she's trying to come up with all these plans to help Light out, and none of the plans even make sense. Right? Like, especially the last plan that she comes up with, it's just really stupid. And I guess I'll have to, in order to truly tell you how stupid it is, I'd have to spoil it. So if you don't want to be spoiled, just skip a minute ahead. Alright? But the last plan that Mia comes up with, she writes Light's name in the Death Note because she doesn't think he can handle it, only she can. And she says that what I want you to do is to transfer ownership of the Death Note to me, and once you do that, I'll erase your name from the Death Note and you'll be saved. Because in this movie they introduced a new rule that if you burn a page in the Death Note, the person doesn't actually die anymore. So they tried to use that in order to allow her to steal a Death Note from Light. But it completely ignores the fact that Light can just write her name in the Death Note and undo literally all of that, and even go so far as to make her confess to being Kira and get all the attention away from him. Okay? So, it's impressive just how much is wrong with this movie. Right? Like, it's just impressive, the writing. Like I just mentioned, is that example with Mia. Okay, just writing that doesn't make sense. You're gonna do X, Y, Z and act like this is some great plan, when in reality, it's literally the worst plan you could come up with, because it's very, very easy to counter. It's not difficult at all. Okay, not at all. So the writing is bad, the characters are bad, the acting is bad, the character development is bad, the story is basic, there are no psychological battles, the characters aren't even the same. Literally every character is changed entirely except for Ryuk and L. And like I said before, they don't actually capture the greatness of L. They tried to, but they didn't go overboard the way they should have, because L is just not normal. He's just not. They went a little bit in that direction, but not as far as they needed to go to completely capture what is so great about L. So L was okay. He was fine. There was one thing that happened in the movie that didn't make sense, which goes to the writing, and this isn't really a spoiler, so there's no reason to skip. I mean, it's nothing big, so there's no reason to skip ahead. But there's a scene in the movie where L is chasing after Light, like it's a foot chase, okay? And there comes a time when Light is running out of this building, and he's looking around trying to decide what direction he's going to run in next, and he runs into the building next door. And then L comes around, and he comes out the building, and he's looking around for looking around for Light. And when you think about it, Light could have gone down the street to the right, he could have gone down the street to the left. There are so many buildings there, he could have gone into any one of them. Across the street, next door, the one on the other side. He could have gone in literally anywhere. And in a second, literally a second, L just decides, he probably went in this building, and convincingly, like he knows he's right, just runs in. I'm like, he literally could have gone anywhere, so how did you just pick the right building so coincidentally? Like that, it's just poor writing, way too many coincidences. I mentioned a plan of Mia's earlier, and I can't even. There's another one that's a spoil. I don't feel like telling you to skip ahead, though, so I'm not going to mention it. But there's another scene that you literally cannot miss. Like, it sticks out to you. It is the ultimate convenience. Just Deus Ex Machina. It's, and they try to explain it, and the way they go about explaining it doesn't even make sense in context of the rules of Death Note. Like, even the rules that they made up and put into the story, it still doesn't make sense. So this movie is bad in literally every way imaginable. Okay, it's just a bad movie. Okay, so if I'm rating the movie, I would have to give it a 3 out of 10, and that's being generous. That is being generous. Okay, maybe you like the camera work or something, you know. So I'll give it a 3. No, screw that. 2 out of 10. Because I just remembered a scene that made Light look even worse in the beginning of the movie. When he first gets the Death Note, and when he first sees Ryuk, it's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. The acting is so bad, and they just go out of the way to destroying Light, and I don't know why. So you know what? Screw that. I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. I'm giving it a 2 out of 10, and the only reason I'm giving it that high is because of the camera work. That's it. It's the camera work wasn't bad. L was decent. Ryuk was cool, even though he was completely inconsequential to pretty much everything in the story. Okay, but he was still cool. So I'll give the live-action Netflix adaptation of Death Note a 2 out of 10. And that's that, you guys. Rate, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at BlacklistOTA. And I will see you guys next time.